So I'm going to play a wee clip from what they were discussing on YouTube. Guys, take a listen and we'll discuss it when we come back.
Is the home game against the Athletic Club, the Bilbao Club, of course. That's on the 10th of April, when, again, all eyes will be on that. Simon, a suspended stand closure. That's what UEFA have come out with. Be very careful, or if it happens again, we'll shut that stand down.
Yeah, but with respect to what UEFA are saying and what they're alleging, there's nothing racist and discriminatory about what that banner suggested. I don't agree with the principle of
In your view, UEFA say there is.
Well, but that's because UEFA are being allowed to say it. So we've got football lecturing everybody all day, every bloody day, about every single cause. And when the fans have an opinion, all of a sudden, sit down, shut up, you can't have one. So when it's about taking the knee...
Yeah, but who's in charge?
Well,
UEFA.
Sure. So what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So you're lecturing people about... So the fans are supposed to be the lifeblood of football. When they want to have an opinion, they can't have one. When the football authorities want to tell you which particular cause you should be aligning with, whether they want to light up Wembley for one particular country in a terrible tragedy, or whether they want to talk about taking the knee, or whether they want to advance an LGBT clause, then everyone's got to listen to that.
But what's that banner? Is that not an agenda?
Well, yes, it is.
Can you enlighten certain listeners, like and even myself, as to what that even... what's it referring to?
I have no idea, but the suggestion that it's racist and discriminatory, I'd like to understand what's racist and discriminatory about it.
Right. Well, what was racist and discriminatory? We'll get into that first, about the banner.
Nothing that I can see, because to be perfectly honest, I didn't see it at the time, because where the Union Bears now sit, I can't see what they do, because I'm obviously in the club in CD1 above that bit of the Copland, so I didn't see it. Saw pictures of the banner later, didn't have a clue what it meant. There's nothing racist, discriminatory about it, apart from the fact it's UEFA's ball, and if UEFA say it's discriminatory, then it is. And that's the worrying thing about this, because if UEFA don't like something, they'll just turn around and say, well, that's racist, discriminatory, whatever, however they want to word it. There's your stand closure.
I mean, Demi, I have to agree, right? What can't be taken away for us, right, is unfortunately right now, it is UEFA's ball. UEFA can do whatever they want. So just don't put any banners up. The throwing and the pyro, it's a no-go. So there's no comeback on that. That's absolutely fair. But it does feel like, especially with Rangers coming out and giving it, we're going to give fans lifetime bans. Well, surely we need to know why.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm aware, UEFA haven't actually, come out and said why it's racist. They've just said it is, don't do it again. So, why have we sort of, not asked? Because at no point, did we mention any, it just said, keep woke foreign ideologies out. It wasn't, aimed at anyone in particular. So I'm not entirely sure how it's racist. And I think the club should be asking that. But I mean, that could obviously cause more harm than good. But yeah, I don't understand how UEFA can just say, we don't like that, here's a ban.
I mean, Alan, I think they also mentioned it in that clip, and if you want to, I'll put the clip in the description once we're finished here. Where Simon Jordan saying, well, should Rangers be going back to UEFA and asking for, clarification on exactly what was racist before coming out with lifetime bans? And I got a response to that from somebody who said, well, maybe they have. But if they had, they would have told us.
Absolutely, and I think Simon Jordan's elaborated on what I said in last night's Rabble. UEFA have an opportunity here to educate people, to actually do something towards eradicating so-called prejudice and racism and discrimination. But they've not done that. They've come out and says, we think that's racist and or discriminatory. There's your punishment. Where's any education about that? So many people, casual observers, Danny Murphy, Simon Jordan, Jim White, they can't tell us what's racist or discriminatory about it. I can't. Wilf can't. Demi can't. You can't. What is? What's wrong with that? But Simon Jordan makes a brilliant point. Politics in football is absolutely fine if we've been told what we've got to go and represent, go and make a scene about. But as soon as a club decides to do it, or a fan base decides to do it, it's punishable. It's hypocritical. And listen, UEFA are in charge. It's their ball. We'll get that. But it's very, very difficult to respect their decision making when it's absolutely scattergun the way it is.
I tend to agree with us, right? Just before you come in, Wolf, and I've got you on mute because there's an echo, so I'll unmute you when I'm when I'm going to bring in. And I just want to get your thoughts on what Alan said there. And I completely agree with it. Either UEFA take a stance of no politics in football, or it has to be not so much a free-for-all, because there's some really bad ideologies out there, right? I understand that, some racist and sectarian or whatever. We don't want that. But either UEFA have got to say, right, no LGBTQ, no Black Lives Matter movement, no dancing for Miss Daisy movement, nothing. Because if you're coming out and you can't say what exactly is racist about said banner, you can't then have a go at fans for sharing their own ideologies.
Yeah, UEFA are very vague because racist or discriminatory, they don't qualify what that is. You know what I mean? As was pointed out in the little bit of our chat I saw earlier, and as you were just saying just now, UEFA, it's okay if UEFA saying take the knee or do this or do that, but if it's something they don't agree with or they haven't thought of, then you're not allowed to do it. I'm sorry, it's either everything or nothing. And for me, politics has got no place in football. We've been told since I was a kid, I've been told politics has nothing to do with football, and it should have no place. It should have no place because football's supposed to be a broad church. We're supposed to be open to everybody as a football club. All football clubs are supposed to be open to everybody. It doesn't matter if you're, your political leanings, your colour of your skin, your ethnicity, whatever,
Ethnicity,
which isn't the right word. That's the word. That shouldn't make any difference. You shouldn't be harangued out of a football club because of your beliefs. I mean, even on our podcast, the sort of 20, 25 guys we've all got different political views. I mean, I've been with my girlfriend 20 odd years. She doesn't know my political views because it's none of her business. I'm not going to tell her. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to tell any of you guys. We know what your political views are. You don't mind sharing them. That's fine. That's entirely up to you. But there's no place in football. It doesn't make you any better or any less than anybody else because you've got different view. Football and politics don't mix, and if UEFA are going to bring up political things like taking the knee and Black Lives Matter, then they're going to have to accept that other people are going to have their political views as well. But they have to be able to quantify, from the club's point of view, in this state, Rangers have. I mean, yes, Rangers should go back to UEFA and say, look, what exactly are you offended by in this? As Demi says, it might do more harm than good. Rangers might have done that. We don't know that. I mean, there's people saying, I've seen this morning, we should be appealing UEFA's decision. I'd like to hope that we've already been in discussions with UEFA and said, look, this punishment's ridiculous. This punishment might be a lessened punishment because UEFA might have come out and said, right, we're closing the Copland Stand. And the Rangers were, wait, hold on a minute. And this, I'm guessing, I'm playing devil's dick advocate a little bit. I'd like to think the board have been in discussions with UEFA, and this might be the lessened punishment that they've given us for a kind of behind-the-scenes appeal, if you like. But if they did, we need to know that. Otherwise, the club have to appeal. Because they can't just say to UEFA, that's fine, please pull down my pants and give us a smack.
I mean, yeah, Demi, just touching on the Union Bears and all this. Obviously, look, the banner came from their area. Rangers are looking for to give out lifetime bans, which we'll discuss in a wee second. But there has been so much chatter across socials and a lot of the fan base. And I say socials, that's not a wide array of the actual thinking within the Rangers fan base, right? It's just a wide array of what we see. So I can only go by that. They seem split on this. So, Demi, are the Union Bears in a difficult position now?
Look, I'm not even sure that, majority of the Union Bears even knew what that meant. They're about what, 18, 19, majority of them. So I'm sorry, none of us even really knew what it meant. So you're telling me that a bunch of teenagers knew what it meant. Sorry, not believing that majority of them even knew what it meant. But I also just don't get sort of, why bring it in the first place? Everybody knows that if UEFA say no, that's it. Like, do you know what I mean? And they're not going to tell you beforehand, don't bring this and this and this. If you do it, UEFA are going to punish you. So why bother bringing it in the first place? Did it bring anything to the game we were playing? No. So I just personally don't get the point of it at all. If you're going to make a tifo, a banner, great. but make it related to, you know, the club or the game that we're watching. Don't just bring in a random one because you felt like it, especially when you don't even know what it means.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. But Alan, I'll take that to you as well. Obviously, there was the staged walkouts a while ago from the Union Bears, which again were, I'm not going to say 50-50 because I don't know the exact amount, but some people did, some people didn't. Now we've got this banner thing that is almost certainly going to cause a partial stadium closure of the Copland Road unless they just stop doing the banners, which I would like to see, because I don't want any part of a stand closed, especially for people who have got absolutely nothing to do with it. So, with regards to the actual fan base, Alan, are the Union Bears on a sticky wicket?
I definitely think they are. I think they need to actually be much better advised. You know, I think the Union Bears would come on leaps and bounds if they were to take some good advice, you know, and really channel their efforts the right way. In terms of the walkout protest, there's no issue with that. You know, it made a statement. It wasn't going to cause any problems for the club, but it made a lot of noise. You know, it made a big statement. You know, it made people sit up and talk about it and open up a conversation. In terms of banners that are going to draw the attention of UEFA, we know we're being watched. You know, there's been issues with pyro, with missiles getting chucked on the park. You know, general thuggery that is going to get you punished. If you're throwing missiles towards players on the park, you're going to get hammered, and that's just indefensible. So they need to box cover. They need to be winning people back. You know, they need to be taking a bit of well-meaning advice, and that's no people trying to tame the Union Bears. That's no people trying to temper what they're doing, but they need to channel it in the right way. And vague banners like this are going to cause us problems, let alone if they actually try and take it on and challenge things even more with more discriminatory banners.
Just a case now, though, of the fans being smart, being level-headed, and just keeping everything to the football. Because if you don't, they're not just hurting the club financially; you're hurting other supporters.
Absolutely, and as I said last night, you know, we've got so much football heritage; it should be celebrated. And there's so many challenges for us in the football park right now, let alone what's going on off the park. We need to get out this rut where we keep failing on the park and where we keep falling into second place. And that seems to be the limit that we've had the last few years. We need to focus on that. We need to focus the support on getting that team improved. You know, so some people just need to forget some of the stuff that's going on in the background. You know, there's plenty of people who challenge that away from games, but when we get to grounds, we need to be focused on what's happening on the park. We need to be supporting and celebrating our football and history and heritage, and we need to be focused on that. We need to leave some of the political stuff and leave it for outside the ground, you know, away on forums or pods or wherever it gets discussed, but it needs to be wrapped on the ground.